Yes, hello everybody. I hope that you can hear me well. For technical, just check if somebody who is already joining. I see if you don't hear me well, please give it in the chat. I will be very grateful. I'm actually starting this live session. It's already number 11. Imagine number 11 live session from Leiden Bioscience Park. And I'm really happy actually to have this session again. So welcome again, everybody who is joining. Please let me know in the chat from where you are joining. That would be really nice to hear it. And I think I started even 1 minute before, so those which are already joining again, I'm very happy to have you here at my YouTube channel. And we're going to talk a lot about creating a brighter future for postdocs, for PhD students in life sciences. And this is not going to be only about how we can develop ourselves in academia globally, because I always touch upon different universities, but how we can actually develop within academia, but also reaching to industry or develop within industry. And taking our skills, which have been so far learned, and how we can plan our career, because this doesn't happen. Developing your career doesn't happen from one day to the other. It's a process, and we're going to talk today about this. But beside this kind of short introduction, let me introduce for everybody who is new, who didn't follow the previous sessions. They're all available on YouTube. So please, very welcome to listen to all of them. My name is Aneta Schaap-Oziemlak. I did my PhD in stem cells. And today actually is the day when it's exactly 18 years anniversary from defending my PhD. So it's pretty long already. But you may wonder what I did within this 18 years. So after receiving PhD in stem cells in a worldwide recognized group, in the group of Professor Leiden at Erasmus MC in Rotterdam, Netherlands, I gained a lot of fundamental knowledge about stem cells, and then I moved to Nijmegen, to Radboud University, when I wanted to learn more about environment, where stem cells residing in that perspective, that is bone marrow. And from there, I moved to Leuven. So I was always project driven, because I wanted to use all this fundamental knowledge to develop preclinical knowledge. And that's how I actually got a good postdoc position in another worldwide recognized group, in Professor Katrin Vervee in Leuven, at Interdepartmental Stem Cell Institute. And from there, I moved all the way to Groningen. And that was important project in terms of developing successful strategies to target abnormal blood stem cells, or abnormal blood cells, or cancer stem cells, and developing actually leukemic mouse models. So model which was actually mainly based on developing human leukemia in mice. And that was important mouse model, because this model brought me to think about how we can apply basic knowledge, fundamental knowledge, in that case in stem cells. And that was, of course, followed by 4 postdocs where I built this expertise and know-how in stem cells, but also how to develop preclinical research and applying this fundamental knowledge, finding a way how to treat diseases like, for example, leukemia. So after 4 postdocs, you probably wonder already what I did after. I decided indeed to build more translational impact and develop my own startup in stem cell field, but I wanted to collaborate with different universities, with different groups, and bring also agile project management, so smart time management to projects, make them way more shorter, so that risk for investors is way more minimized, and develop this academic industrial partnership. And that was, I think, my main drive here, to create this collaborative, interdisciplinary also impact. And about my name of the bio-inspired think tank, so the startup, the name of my startup, you can find more on my vlogs, for especially that's information for everybody who is joining new today. And my also kind request to you is, if you didn't do it yet, please hit the subscribe button. This is also important, that more and more we can grow this community of PhD students, postdocs, so we can create brighter options for career in life sciences. So I'm really happy if you could do that, and hit the subscribe button. This doesn't cost anything, so you can contribute also here, and you can bring your own perspective. So if there are any questions, please put them also in the comments below. I will be very happy to tackle and answer all of them. And I told you a lot about my background, a lot about why I'm busy with also this particular type of projects, and what is my mission, what is my drive here in terms of collaboration. But of course, I'm also advocate for PhDs and postdocs, because that might be also the question which pops up maybe today. Because I collaborate with many different teams, but my dream team is, of course, my own team, which is consisting of highly skilled PhDs, or also PhD students which decide to make decisions from academia to industry. So that's something about, in a way, also my motivation, why I'm organizing these live sessions, why I'm focusing here on PhD students and postdocs globally also, because I am really, because of my postdoc experiences, which actually I did in 3 different countries, in Netherlands, in different cities, in Belgium, and in Poland, that brought also extreme international vibe, also maybe signature. I love working with internationals, and I'm learning a lot from them, and I share a lot with them. So I think that is, in a way, building international or multinational team consisting of PhDs or PhD students also, which can join my company as interns if they didn't yet made a decision to switch to in a way, industry, which is very different from academia. I'm also waiting here for you guys. And yesterday and the day before in Netherlands, there was a special celebration. We were celebrating St. Nicholas. And I thought, since today the session is already after celebrating St. Nicholas, but I thought it would be still nice to have some surprise for you guys, especially the ones which are joining here. And I have such surprise, but to give the surprise, there is something which I'd like to ask you. First of all, to stay and actively listen whole my session. And at the end, I will tell you what exactly going to be the surprise. But also to offer you this surprise, I thought maybe it's good to put myself in the role of, for this special day, for the day in December, which is associated with giving gifts with Christmas. It's good to put myself in the role of Saint Nicholas, lady, and I have I got prepared, so I have my cap. So I'm going to put my cap on. And of course, this is associated with some surprises which I prepared for you. But about the surprises, I will say in the end of the session. So please stay awake. And also the content which I'm always preparing, I'm pretty sure that this is the content which will be very useful for you and very inspiring. So that's something which I'd like to, I think, tell at the beginning. And today, I'd like to tell more about something, especially for new people, which are were joining before, maybe others too, but especially for the new ones. I'd like to still bring this image where we start from a perspective of PhD diploma. And also this, I think it's very relevant to also PhD students, because that's also your, the final goal of PhD, right? Studies, defending your PhD thesis and receiving PhD degree. But when you think, as I said to you, from perspective, and when you're considering that career planning and what's next, it doesn't take one day to figure out. Then you have to first think about different mindset, where PhD, receiving PhD degree was not the final destination, but it is a starting point. And changing this perspective about your future career steps is very important, to really take a time and talk and think about this, and spend time thinking about this, spend time asking questions. And I think the sessions are also, I'm very curious about your questions, especially for PhD students, which I believe there is more questions than answers at their moments of career. But also for postdocs, because postdocs, usually I did 4 postdocs, and this was at least within European universities, 2-3 years. In my last article or my last reports, and now it's a time that I have to look for a job because the funding is finished. And then might be the situation that you run guys into panic. And I understand that postdoc situation is very especially intense, because you have to manage people within this 2-3 years, think about your career, look for job, preparing data analysis, going for conferences, presenting your data. And this is sometimes, I have impression, for perspective of time, too short time to really get prepared to find an answer, what's next. And for example, especially when you want to move from academia to industry. And last time I also bring this percentage, because I think bringing some percentage is important to the table. From all PhDs worldwide, if you think about this, around 0.5% all PhDs will become professors, will establish career in academia. But the most of it, and I think the statistics are around 77%, will need to find or develop career outside of academia. And percentage between, if you think about 20 few percent, will basically circulate between academia and maybe industry in terms of collaborations, which is possible. And I hope everything is visible well. Just a quick check, yeah. So you need to really make sure, knowing this percentages, keeping them in mind, that planning transition from academia to industry takes time. And it's all the skills you have are certainly required in industry, and they are important for industry. And I've been in Leiden Bioscience Park, which is the biggest and the oldest, 15 already, I think maybe even more now, organizations or companies, including Johnson & Johnson, Galapagos, very experienced in clinical trials, and Johnson & Johnson. And this is important to realize, that being here already for around 7 years, I realized how quickly actually the time flies. But I learned a lot, especially about the time. That time is money, and that's why Agile Project Manager came into operational, in a way, activities of my startup. So I really keep making things extremely time efficient in different collaborations also in my workplace. Agile is important, but also, as I told you about this transitioning from academia to industry, this is very dynamic environment. And what I also would like to bring, because in a moment I will come to more concrete examples, I'd like to, for the moment, so I think this is very clear. I can remove this. But what I also like to tell you today, and this is also part of my growth or growing curve, which that's actually quite nice in a way, a metaphor of learning process and career path, is that on this curve, depending what your ambitions are, right? Because we always have ambitions. And taking this diploma with us, you need to realize that having this diploma and going to industry, in my case, it took me 4 postdocs in 3 different countries to learn the know-how, which is competitive, especially in stem cell field and in regenerative medicine, and then do research on entrepreneurship, preparing business plans, learning how to do that, doing also talking to people which already started their startup or company, and talking to more advanced, so more established CEOs, and presenting the idea of my startup, the vision of my startup, so vision. And then developing this vision in agile, continuous improvement way, by building collaborations, developing workshops, and coaching. Also for people which would like to move from academia to industry. So this path took time, and it is, as you can see, each step, each milestone was actually consisting of many steps, learning lessons, taking feedback, learning how to appreciate feedback, how to use feedback to move forward. But it's a stepwise process. So there's many steps, which brought me finally to my startup, bio-inspired think tank. And a little bit about this process, because this was all consisting of small processes: building vision, developing collaborations, developing relationships, because I always say it's about also developing, especially when you think about long-term collaborations. I want that my collaborators stay with me, they develop things together with me on multiple projects. And I appreciate all these relationships. So relationships are first, and that's also something which Agile is project management, but also Agile Manifesto is telling you about when you learn more about Agile, that people first, processes second, but people first. So collaborators first, building relationships first, and then we can build upon it. Of course, expertise matching matters, but people are always first. And the same is in terms of all the clients, all the collaborators, all the coaches I'm working with. And so for me, important lesson which I'd like that you take from it is that this was my path. This path is ongoing. It's not finishing because I would like to grow my company, right? Set a team, international team, having more collaborations, and so on and so on. More investors on board. So also a relationship with investors, which I should not forget. This is also important, starting from very early stage of your company and continuing this relationship stepwise. So you can see that this path in terms of my path is something which is a process. And I think a lot of us would like to, and I understand that there is always very high ambition and high drive, would like to move from point A to B in their career very fast. So very fast, going through the process, right? And this can lead sometimes to very big, especially in the beginning, because there are high hopes, high expectations. I want to be here, but I have to learn, I have to study, I have to do research, I have to network, all these things. And this have to, in time, start to feel heavier and heavier. The motivation may drop. So that's where I am. I'm also here at this point to help you guys move from A to B in a stepwise process. But I developed these coaching abilities, first of all, for implementing it in developing consortia between universities, companies, startups, so different collaboration partners. But later on, I very much realized, and that was also a stepwise process, I want to develop a team consisting of PhDs. So I want to implement these coaching skills, not only for collaborations, but also for building my team, for managing my team. Because Agile also represents different type of leadership, of management. So therefore, this coaching skills appear to be not just important for implementation in collaboration models or developing different type of collaborations, but also for building my own future, near future team. And to be good coach, you need to actually develop learning or the career, maybe I would say, maybe that really depends, but different type of programs, different types of workshops. And that's why I developed Agile team building workshop, so that everybody know and can experience how it is to work in Agile frame, in Agile environment, which my startup represents, and also Agile leadership workshop. That's for everybody who would like to become a more adaptable leaders, more flexible leaders, more solution-driven leaders. So that's something which I like to bring here in terms of coaching, that this coaching is based also on some programs and workshops which I developed as a coach, and that's also part of the portfolio for, I would say, for every good coach. So coming back to this, now I'd like to give you some examples, because I know that this is, of course, main type of, I would say, scheme where you move from point A to point B in your career. Are PhDs, right? PhD, or you are already, or you also PhD student. So depending, you need to think ahead, not just 1 month before. Especially PhD students have here advantage compared to postdocs. They have a little bit more time. When they start their PhD, they can already think about what I like to do after 4 years. At least try to discover and network with, if it is possible, network with people from industry, but also network from people which already maybe set up their companies, so that they are exposed to many different people and also maybe finding mentors, which I also said about before. But as I said, this is main scheme, point A to B. But of course, if what you can realize is that depending what is your point B, maybe from PhD or postdoc, you would like to become at the position C, maybe there will be more positions, right? More you talk to different people, more scenarios are opening. That's usually what is the advantage of networking and finding different mentors. And you assume, well, I want to use my skills, but I feel strongly about leadership, and I like to become maybe not CEO, maybe the CEO of big company. And let's put here Johnson & Johnson, but also there can be other companies. And this means that more, in a way, you think more ambitious about your next career step or the position which you like to hold in industry. So ambition is growing, or it's really high. This means that this will take more time and more education. In terms of CEOs, you might think shortly, maybe you heard already, guys, about this. You might heard about MBA. Maybe you will need to learn more about business, about driving business, macroeconomics, and so on and so on. So business-related, in a way, subjects to be able to become CEO. So extra-curriculum education. But you also have to think when their ambition is high, so you want to become CEO, that you need to be a networker, right? Because usually successful CEOs are good networkers. They have very high social skills. The other thing is you need to think about vision, right? If you want to become leader, CEO, you need to have a vision. People are always driven by vision. If CEO has very clear vision, they are very much driven. So all the managers from work floor, all the scientists, they need to know what is your vision, what is your future vision for this company. Because things are changing, things are evolving. Nothing stays the same anymore, especially when we think about nowadays that we have war in Ukraine, we have war. We have more than one war, which I like to too much mention about all the wars, but this creates very uncertain environment, and especially when you have such ambition to move from academia to CEO, you have to also think especially about the vision. And if you want to start your company, that also applies to it. And takes time. Again, developing this vision takes time. So more ambitious you want to go and reach the most ambitious CEO position, more steps and longer will take the process. Process will be simply, in terms of time, longer and more intense, because you will need to learn more and more. So intense learning process here. So that's something which I like to bring, because as I said, sometimes if we think about next move in our career and we have ambitious position which we would like to apply for, we don't realize how much time and how much work it takes, and education, to move to this position. If you would have position not as a CEO, and I think that's what I always advise everybody who wants to especially develop or make transition from academia to industry. So if we think about this academia and industry, of course, if you have opportunity in your company, which you're going to apply for, after some time will realize, well, we want to give you a chance as a manager. Of course, MBA education can be very helpful. But if you don't have really, let's say, yet leadership or managerial ambition, you can simply would like to simply, that's maybe I should not use this word, you would like to become industrial scientist. This path will take less steps and will be definitely still challenging. You will have to learn way more competencies, but you will be able to apply the ones which you already learn in the lab. So wet, for example, lab work, and apply them to industry. But to give you more examples, because now I talked about frame, and I wanted to bring some focus about this because I think this is for the first time I'm bringing scheme of this frame, scheme of this process, and talking about the process where the change occurs from position A to position B or C or D or E, and so on and so on. And I'd like to really embrace this process. This process is very important, and this is not fast track. This is a process which you need to give a time, and if you need this time, you can also I can also help you here in coaching and making this transition easier and work on this process with you. So that's something about the scheme. But as we have also in business, we have success stories, but also we have stories that we can learn from our failures. And our failures also are a lesson. And that's what is also want you to understand, that in this process, it's a process where success, failure is alternating sometimes. Once you're successful, once it works, once it doesn't. But this is sort of sinusoidal curve, which is representing a learning, realistic learning curve process. And that's what you have to accept in a way. And you should not be demotivated because of any failures which are happening on the road. So to tell you a little bit more about the process, I prepared few examples of career paths from very prestigious university. And these paths led to actually positions in industry. So this is interesting to give you this, tell about paths of this people from Karolinska Institute, so associated with Nobel Prize committee, and I think this is very prestigious research-led university in Sweden, and presenting these paths to you. Some, of course, hopefully will be very helpful for you to start thinking about planning, and by looking at other people, in a way, testimonies, right, examples, what was their process, think about something for your own career plan, for your own career path. And the first person I was going to talk about is the person which I'm really, I got very inspired. Her name is Sarah Thunberg. And I like to bring some elements from her testimony, which is she's sharing, and bring it really from the, as I said, from this perspective, not only scientific perspective, but also moving to industry. She is technical product manager at Roche Diagnostic, so pretty well recognized company. And what she brought, that diagnostic and making a difference for patients, once she thought about doing PhD, was something which was always close to her heart. And working, of course, for company brought this perspective and brought this value of working actually or making a difference in her position through executing all the tasks as a manager in Roche Diagnostic way more realistic, more tangible, right? It's not that something which you just carry because you want to make a difference for patients by executing a role as a manager in Roche Diagnostic, but you make this by working and executing actually your task, you make this mission, you make this value more tangible. And her path started actually very different than typical because she first chose a path within humanities. And then she quickly realized that she wanted to pursue a career in biomedicine. So this time when you study is very important, and when your heart tells you that this is not a place that you want to be any longer, I think you should change it. And I think that's the advantage of studying, that you can make much quicker moves without too much consequences. So she did enjoy the program of, it's called biomedicine program at Karolinska Institute. And that these 4 years were very important and ended with very successful master project and of course master title. And that what was nice that she was able to continue with this master project as a PhD student. So this master student project turned into PhD project during the next years, where she investigated novel treatment strategies and regulation of immunoglobulin E-mediated allergic disease. And then she realized that apart from thinking about making a difference through her research for patients, she became an immunologist at heart. In 2008, she defended her thesis and start to think about how I'm going to now become independent. And I think that's a very relevant question for a lot probably in lots of situations for all you guys, how to become independent. And because of her contacts, she started to work, and that was also very interesting, half-time at the lab of clinical immunology at Karolinska University Hospital, and half time in her old lab. So it seemed to be very, in a way, a flexible project and also mentor environment where mentors were allowing her to work and have 2 part-time jobs. But of course, she admitted that this was short-term solution, and she wanted actually, or she was planning also to develop more as in her private life, take parental leave. So she wanted actually that after parental leave, she could come back as a mom to her position at the hospital. And she got such chances. Got such chance. So that's something which you sometimes need a luck in right time, in the right time frame. And she started to work on numerous projects. She thought about doing postdoc at some point in Canada, then staying at Sweden. But of course, her mother, in a way, duties and having baby was quite challenging. And herself, she said that staying only in academia was anyway not really the right path for her, because what she realized also during this process, that writing applications and struggling for financing is not her way. And she wanted to work more and more and apply her skills and work finally as a clinical biochemist with technical responsibility for cellular analysis for around 6 years. So as you can see, this process took some time. It was process of this, experimenting, and of course you need to have right frame and right mentors, which can help you in this path. But yourself, you have to put a lot of energy, and you have to make decision. You have to make choice, because depending on the choice you will make, your life, also your career path, will look different. So she liked it a lot, and she said that she found it incredibly rewarding to do something that was close to patients again and making a difference for their treatment. But at some point, she started to think that she would like to bring something even more to the table. She wanted to have a bigger challenge, and she got such challenge because she came and make transition to other field. She spent 3 years at the Department of Applied Physics, and she said that it was a lot of fun, a lot of new things to learn, and even if it was interdisciplinary challenge, she really enjoyed that a lot. And she said something which I really like, that being a person who enjoys change and challenge, so that's really agile mindset. She really thought about, now, if I could do that, I enjoy this interdisciplinary field of applied physics. I want to try and take a challenge to move to industry. And her first application to Roche, actually, it was Roche. So her first application to industry was a Roche company. And after many interviews, so that was also process, she doesn't say how many, she finally was warmly welcomed as a Roche employee. And this was really good to see that these decisions were not all planned. So, of course, there need to be some preparation, some planning, but it is really continuous way of developing yourself. And that's something which I also bring, that you cannot plan all your life. So you cannot also plan all your career for 20 years. What's next for 20 years? This has to be stepwise process. And then it's the most successful if it's stepwise. So she joined Roche. She learned a lot about the medical field, and she found it really her passion in diagnostic. And she said that diagnostic indeed is very crucial. Without diagnostic, very few decisions are made in healthcare. So that's something which I'd like to say today about, in this particular example, about Sarah and her path. And she also, what's nice here about this process is very honest and giving a tip to all PhD students or all postdocs, all academics which think about their career, developing their career, planning their career path. Just do what you enjoy, subjects which you enjoy, find value. I would say, even looking at Sarah testimony, find value. Where are the values you would like to make some difference with these values? For example, make a difference for patients, or maybe for somebody else, or for something else. So that's important. And what also her testimony brings as I would say, very inspirational, she also highlights the contacts, all the networking part. So I think network, that's her another tip. And she brings what I really also like, and I will put it also in the comments. In the beginning of her thesis, she included a song title and quote by Morrissey, "A light that never goes out." And I think she's the light feels to end up in industry, and being happy about discovering new field, diagnostic for yourself, and making a difference. So I really love what she shared as the last part of her testimony and this process, that I found it incredibly rewarding to do something that was close to patients and making a difference for their treatment. So that's something about which I'd like to share with you. And I will also would like, actually, based on what I said during this session, and that will be something which I like to maybe bring now, because we are coming to the end. The sessions are, depending on the session, they can vary from 1 to 2 hours, but I think overall, in average, they are 1 hour, so that you can stay attentive. And I'm really happy for all the guys which are still here, which are still today. The ones especially which are today, that's the surprise. The surprise will be for the person which will tell me what the most important lesson she took from this session for her or for you guys. And I will put in the comments my email, actually, where you can send me this, in a way, take-home message for yourself. And I think I will give you guys like a time till today, maybe till, I think I should put maybe some deadline here in terms of time, that you will have maybe till 7 or 8 o'clock time to share your lesson, what you learned today, and what was the most. So the thing is to send email to me and bring what was the most important for you to learn today, how much this relate to you. And I will be actually awarding person which brought the most impactful learning lesson. I will bring to this person some very nice surprise today. And we will stay in email contact. So, well, if you can, I think I can already give you the contact. Yes, I will put it in the chat, but also I will put it after the session. So the guys which stay till the end, thank you very much for listening. And you guys probably have the biggest chance to receive the surprise from me today, playing a role of Saint Nicholas. And I cannot tell more about the surprise. I think the surprise will come from based on the answers I received. And I think till 6 o'clock I will put the time deadline. I'm waiting for, it can be 1-2 sentences. It doesn't have to be a lot, but the lesson, the most important lesson you learned from the session today, that's something which I would like to ask you. That's the St. Nicholas challenge, to receive surprise from me. So saying that, please think about this. You have time till 6 o'clock. And I'm really looking forward to your answers. And I can also maybe bring also email. That's also maybe it's quicker. The email is email address. Maybe I can also share here in the chat. So it starts from info. So it's info bioinspired thinktank.com. So the first one was not correct, but info bioinspired thinktank.com. You can send me your 1-2 sentences, the lesson, what was the most important lesson you learned from the session today. I would be very happy to see them, and the person with the most insightful, the most impactful answer will receive a surprise from me. I will not tell you yet what it will be the surprise, but it's worth it. So thanks a lot for listening, and see you at the next live session. And this will be number 12 session, I already telling you, in 2 weeks, from Leiden Bioscience Park, the last live session to talk and to develop brighter future. And how to do it, we're going to talk more. And I think this session will be also to bring some summaries, some tips, some lessons. So please also join the next session, the last session, a live session in this year 2023. So I'm sending to you all the warmest greetings, and I'm really looking forward to your emails with the answers. Looking forward to your participation in the next live sessions. Warm greetings from Leiden Bioscience Park. It's not snowing yet. I'm still waiting for snow. So see you next time, hopefully also with a bit of snow. So take care. And as I said, I'm looking forward to your emails. Bye.